All right, hi guys, this is Mary with Fancy Fibers, and I get asked quite a bit how to use a warping board or how to set up your warping board and wind a warp, and I want to take a minute today and show everybody the way I do it. It's important that you consider the ergonomics in this. So here's what we're going to do. Linda's here with me today, and for her project we need a 4.5 yard warp. So I've got some cotton yarn that it's just plain old cotton yarn, nothing fancy, and I'm going to show you how first I measure off the 4.5 yards. I've put a slip knot in the end of my cotton yarn, and I've got my trusty yardstick here, and so I'm going to go along and pull my yarn across the yardstick, and I'm being very careful not to stretch the yarn. Okay, because I want to get an accurate measure. So I've got, this will be the 3rd yard. This will be the 4th yard. And then we need another 18 to 20 inches. Her project actually called for 4.6, a yard of 4.6. So I'm going to come down here to 20 inches. And I'm going to make my loop right there. That's going to be the end of my warp, and tie a knot. So that is the end of my warp at 4 yards, 20 inches. Now it's a matter of finding whatever that path is on the warping board. I'm using my favorite warping board that you can do 9 yards on. This is a Glamocra warping board. It's called the Glamocra Sophia, I believe. I carry them at the shop. So we're going to start with this peg, go under, over, and around, and down, and we haven't run out of yarn yet, so we need to go further, but we don't have quite enough yarn to get all the way over to this peg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take up a little of that space by going down the side, and then I'll fit my cord, my guide string, on this peg right here. So now it's time to actually start winding our actual warp. And this is pretty important because you don't want to throw your shoulders out or get some sort of repetitive stress injury. I'm going to start with a slip knot up here. I'm going to come under this peg and over. Again, I'm letting the yarn run through my hands. I'm not pulling on it in any way. And notice how my hands are meeting in the middle and then taking the yarn to the various points where it needs to go. My left hand is bringing the yarn over here. My right hand is taking it here. My hands are meeting in the middle and then taking the yarn to the various places where it needs to go. What you do not want to do is use one arm and go back and forth like this. This is very bad for your shoulder. Even if your warping board is not as wide as mine, you do not want to go back and forth with one arm. Instead, bring your left hand handles the left side of the warping board, and your right hand handles the right side of the warping board. And you're trying to meet in the middle. Now right here, I'm making my threading cross. Linda's going to use this to thread this project onto a 25-inch shacked flip. And she's going to create 4 yards of fabric that we're going to use to make something for her husband. So again, notice how my left hand is handling the left side of the warping board. My hands never go past middle. My right hand is handling the right side of the warping board. So that's it for today. Go wind some warps.